Hey, Good News family, welcome to Now What, the podcast where we pull up a chair, talk through Sunday's message, and ask the question we're all thinking, now what? What do we do with what we just heard? And how do we actually live it out this week? So grab your coffee, your energy drink, whatever will keep you engaged, and let's figure it out together. You guys, I know the timestamp looks really long on this podcast, but it's worth it. You got to make it all the way to the 1 hour mark because I take Pastor Rafael to church. So you're going to want to listen. Hey, Good News family. We are kind of a little bit wound up today. I'm just going to say there has been a lot going on here in sound check. So now look at you guys. You guys are quiet and somber and reflective.
Proper. What are we doing?
Are you doing? Yeah. Are you here? Are you focused? Take a good chug of that energy drink to make sure you are ready to be here.
My to-do list is so stupid long.
It
I never
is?
used to have a to-do list.
A work to-do list or a personal to-do list?
A work.
Yeah. So you'd rather be anywhere else besides here. Is that what you're saying?
No, actually, this is what I want to do.
Okay, good.
But I just know that.
There's a list waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's good for us to have lists, though. It's going to make us better. We have lots of things to do.
I agree. Otherwise, I'd forget everything.
What are you thinking about?
Thinking about how cold it is outside.
Oh, but we're not outside.
18 degrees. It was -4 this morning, though.
We've made
It's
such progress
-8.
today.
No, it's 18 degrees, yeah. But
See?
it feels probably like single digits anyway.
Do you have to run outside today?
Well, that was the idea, but we have still icy
Yeah,
and,
it's not
and
smart.
snowy streets, so I don't want to take another Superman dive, so I think we're taking inside.
I think at your age, you should probably stay inside.
Yep, I
Yeah.
know.
My
Mhm.
app says it feels like 7 degrees.
Feels
Yeah,
like 7.
single.
Okay, not bad. It's when I'm grateful it's basketball season, not football season, so it's good. Speaking of football, did you guys watch any football on Sunday?
Yeah,
The one in the snow?
yeah.
I just saw parts of that.
That
was
thing,
fun. That was
that was snow like crazy.
Yeah.
They couldn't even play in the second. It was terrible. I felt so bad for them, but then I remembered how much money they're making. Are your people going to the Super Bowl? Let's ask that question. Are your teams?
We can't afford tickets.
I don't mean your people as in going. I mean,
I
are
was
your
gonna
teams?
say, my people, I don't know anybody that can
None of
afford
us.
tickets to
No.
that thing.
Are your teams going to the Super Bowl?
No, my team.
Your team didn't even make it anywhere close?
No, my team was winning games at the end of the season that they should have lost, so we can have better picks
Oh, they should have.
for the draft. And
should've
I'm
tanked.
like, what are you guys doing, idiots? You only won 4 games the entire
your
season.
team?
Who's your team?
The Giants.
Oh,
They.
do you ever want to maybe let that go and move on to another team? Is that
Yeah, but then I look at other teams and I'm like, what's my tie to them? Like
the Bears?
yeah,
They're making their comeback. They were so close this year.
Listen,
Become a Bears
exactly.
fan. Nate's so lonely.
I
Nobody
know.
wants to be a Bears fan with them.
I wanted the Bears to win because of Nate and because that was Victoria's mother's team when she was
Aw,
alive.
yes.
And so I was like the Bears. But the Bears, it's just like being a Bears fan, being a Bills fan, being those type of fans. Like you always
Husker
get
fan?
close. No, because the Huskers have
aren't
not
even
been
close.
close in
I mean,
years.
yeah.
Like the Bills fans, like I feel sorry for them.
Them
Every time they get to
too.
the playoffs and then they get to the championship games and just like fall flat on their face. You know how that has to feel horrible. Like the Huskers, I already know. Next year, 6-6 at best.
Let's just not even talk about Husker football and just leave them over there doing whatever it is they're doing,
Basketball.
stealing children
But
from
suddenly they
Chicago
show
and
up, yeah.
Texas and putting them
20
in
and 0.
Lincoln to go to Millard
Basketball,
South.
20 and
Let's
0.
go to basketball.
Yeah.
That is worth watching.
Yeah, or volleyball.
Or volleyball.
Yeah.
Where'd they
That
rank
is
now?
worth watching.
There you
Why
go.
do we keep talking about football
but now
for Huskers?
Nebraska. Well, no,
We
because
should move on.
I know, but it's just now they have flag football, girls flag football, and Nebraska just gave this girl as a quarterback the first D1 offer. Girls flag
No,
football. Yes,
stop.
I'm not joking. Sorry guys, we're 4 minutes in.
It
and
doesn't matter. Okay, we have a rule today.
What's that?
Don't mention the clock. Okay?
Don't mention the
You may
clock.
not mention the clock.
Yeah.
Now you just made everybody go, oh, I've already been on here for 4 minutes. I got to go. Stop.
No,
I'm in charge of the clock. I got it.
they're not leaving because we're talking football. It's
I
when we
don't-
start talking Bible that they leave.
No. And I don't clock you when you guys are on the
Just kidding, just
stage
kidding.
preaching. I'm like not sitting there going,
Sure.
no.
I see your face.
Yesterday I was watching.
I know those
I was
facial
like, he's going to get
expressions.
it done. I was nervous. I told you that. He had like all these points to get through and I was like, oh man. And then I like did the math in my head. I'm like, he's got 10 minutes per point with about 2 to 4 minute response time. And he did it. I was very impressed.
I learned how to
Second
sprint.
service, I had a meeting, so I didn't get to hear how you did
Oh,
on second
second
service.
service.
Did you get wrangling crazy, or did you stay on point and get it done in time?
Still on point.
I don't
He
know.
did?
Let's have people that came to second service.
He was a
tell
little
you.
more relaxed.
I
but-
will. I'll go ask them.
Yeah.
I got off on a few tangents, but yeah.
Nebraska's ranked 5 right now.
I know.
For basketball?
Best, yes. Best ranking.
Obviously for basketball.
Best rank. Yeah, obviously.
Sorry.
Or bowling.
It was a blonde moment. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're still behind Michigan, who are 18-1.
Do we play them coming up soon?
Yep.
I thought I just heard
Tomorrow is the.
Oh, it is
I know.
tomorrow?
What they say?
I don't know.
Today's
yes,
Monday.
I
tomorrow.
have to look.
Tomorrow they play
Tomorrow
at
night?
Michigan. It is the game of the Big Ten.
that. Should we go? Like road trip it?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's
you
just
pay
be
for the tickets? We go.
Let's go. Let's just. I'm
Kyle's
sure I
paying
can
for
ask
tickets,
Nate.
everybody. Yeah.
Anybody want to go show up at
Bring
the church
everybody.
tomorrow
Yep.
at 9 a.m.?
Yeah, we take your
We'll be on our way to
vehicle.
Michigan.
Or are you going to buy us plane
no,
tickets?
My car burns through so much oil right now. It should probably not go on a road trip like that. We'll
We
take
can
Nate's truck.
What
Tate's
year is
truck.
it?
Yes, that's beautiful.
It's a 21. Let's not talk about
Why
it.
is it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a foreign car, a foreign
Right.
inexpensive
Those are
car
good.
that we don't really know. It also had its transmission replaced before 100,000 miles. So
Oh,
thank
geez.
the Lord it was under warranty.
Yeah.
But Nate's trying to tell me it's how I drive it.
I agree with Nate. I seen you drive.
Anywho, we started a new series,
That makes sense.
Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. No, it's The Neighborhood. I'm so sorry that I forgot to warn you and preaching team. It didn't even cross my mind that there is a next generation of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in Daniel the Tiger.
I didn't even know who that dude was.
Okay, but then if you go back and you watch,
I still don't.
if you actually, have you guys seen the documentary for Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood?
Nope.
Or Mr. Rogers? Okay, listen.
You mean the movie?
The movie, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, is what it's called. Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers.
Nope.
All political and opinions, I have to literally set them aside because I love the actor Tom Hanks, but we can just move all that other stuff over there. He's so good at it. I literally, don't make fun of me. I watched the trailer today because I wanted to check some details, and I teared up. You have to watch the movie. It's
I'm not
so
going
good.
to. I'm not
Mr.
going
Rogers
to.
was a believer. He loved Jesus. He loved children. It's like the last good,
So why
real
is Tom
genuinely
Hanks
good
playing
guy
him?
out there. Well, just because he could play him well. Maybe that was before all the bad things came out on Tom. But anyways, let's not go there.
He's a good actor. I'm not going to watch that movie.
In the
But,
movie,
okay.
they reference Daniel Tiger because he's one of his puppets. And Mr. Rogers used to do all the
Oh,
voices. And Daniel the Tiger is one of his puppets. And that's where they did the spin-off show on PBS for kids
Oh.
called Daniel Tiger. And would still have the little jingle, which is
Yeah.
what your kids knew. And my kids knew that too. And I completely spaced that when you guys were prepping of like, oh yeah, kids are going to know Daniel Tiger. So there's your little history lesson.
Okay, thank you.
But really, I'm going to watch it this week. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
I'm not going
The
to.
You
text
need
on your
to.
notes is really big.
It's good for
Because
me.
she old.
It's so that I try to not have to stare at it the whole time. I mean, although if I have to choose between looking here or here, I'd rather just read my screen.
You're younger than me.
But I'm younger than you.
I thought.
Yeah. I'm actually just newly blind.
Okay.
Are
Me
you
too.
have you had glasses? Yeah, I
Me
know. I've
too.
watched the
Like
we've both watched the evolution
reading
of having
glasses.
to have reading glasses
I've
and
never
now
even knew what these things
I've
were.
had glasses, actual glasses, since I was 1.
wow. See, yeah,
I was
this is new for me.
born severely crossed eyes. The muscles were too weak, so I had to have
Okay,
surgery.
that would have been really cute,
before I was
though.
1.
It would have been cute, but
Yeah,
before you
I
were
had
1.
2 eye surgeries before I was 1.
Wow, holy smokes. I mean, that's the time where I get upset about not being able to see. I'm like, well, thank the Lord I had the first 40 years of my
Yeah.
life. I could see just fine and didn't
At
need
some
it.
point, my story's just stupid. You're like, really? You need more?
Speaking of, you're going to be on Tell Me Your Story podcast.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh,
I got,
yeah.
I
We got Tom
somebody-
Houston last week. I met with somebody yesterday that I'm like, it's your turn. You got to be on.
So there
But
was
I'm not
somebody
gonna
that
say it
came
out
up to me and told me about it. Hey, my story, you can share you openly. I said, you know what? You should be on the podcast.
Okay,
Tell
you
me
got to
your
give me the
story. So I'll
name
give you the name,
offline
yes.
because
he
Autumn and I
says-
have to plan
he
that
said,
out.
well, he's like, well, but I'm extremely introverted. So as long as you're asking questions, I'm like, no, Tana will ask you all the questions.
Yeah. We do have to figure out too, like if it's a guy that like kind of likes you or something, like if they don't want to be interviewed by me, maybe we need somebody else.
No,
who can
you're
do
just
it.
trying to punt it on me. Nope, you can do it.
I am not. I was trying to
Yeah.
share it with you. It's actually really, really fun, actually. Okay. We need to talk about the sermon, but a little bit of a get to know you question that ties in with the sermon because I'm kind of thinking you both are the kings of invite excuses.
Oh no, I really liked it when you said that you two are the kings. Like
wanted me to
should have
stop
left
there?
it there.
Okay. Yeah. No.
There's a phrase that goes around, short king or something.
I don't
think
know.
that's just stupid. Just
What does it
What
mean?
is that?
I think it's
don't even-
gross.
I've never heard
I
of
don't
What does
it.
it mean?
Well,
He's
good.
genuinely short, or he had a short term, like he was only king for so long.
No, it's like
Lord
I
Farquaad
think it was
on Shrek.
There you go.
Tana
I
has
think it's like
grandbabies,
people
so now
that
she's
are
watching all the shows.
Into short guys.
Oh. I mean,
I just think
if
it's
I were
weird.
shorter, I would like short guys, but
Yeah.
You're
I'm
tall.
too tall. I can't.
So
yeah,
you have to marry a beast.
I have to marry somebody slightly taller than me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, no. Get back to the story. King of invite excuses is who I kind of picture you guys. What's the worst invite you've ever tried to dodge? Can you think of something? Maybe the best invite you ever tried to dodge. Did you dodge one of my kids' weddings?
Several, but the one that comes to my mind as soon as you asked was skydiving.
Oh,
Oh, you should have
Yeah.
said yes to that.
No,
no,
That'd be
thank you.
awesome.
I choose life.
no, I just
I wanna
at the
do
time,
that.
Considering
I was
this is
I wanna
what
do
he
that so
did for
bad.
his, career.
Totally different.
Oh my
Other than you
gosh.
falling out of a plane.
that is perfectly
Really different.
working, and putting all my trust in some little bag that you put on my back that
Yeah.
you're
Hoping.
telling me that it's going to work, and I have to trust you.
And that I'm going to pull it at the right time to make it work?
Yeah,
No,
like
thank
it's
you.
just a lot of things that could go wrong just for fun. Like,
Did you have a good excuse, or did you just say absolutely not?
I just say HE double hockey sticks. No,
I was
I said,
trying
have
to-
you seen?
I was
And I
trying
said
to
some
give you
other
the-
things like, have you seen any Dominicans just willingly getting on a plane and jumping from their
have.
own will, like out of
I
the
have.
good working plane? You probably have, because you hung out with those
All
crazy
types.
ones.
I'm worried
They're-
about where this is
Those
going.
are not normal ones. They're the
Yeah.
ones that they.
My lieutenant said
sniff too
this
many
is slightly
too much
racist,
glues.
but my
Slightly
lieutenant said
racist? We're
my
apologizing
lieutenant
right now.
said that they like the shiny medals we get. So
Hey, I agree with that. I'm going after shiny medals now. Just different type of medals.
yeah,
Am I following?
we get to wear more things. Cool thing. We got to wear a beret. We got to
Oh, because you jumped out of planes.
yeah.
Yeah, you get shiny
Yeah.
medals.
Okay,
So like
I
right
get
now,
it,
that's
I
the
get
only
it.
reason I run. Like you give me a shiny thing at the
That's
end.
true.
You know what I mean? Like I don't care. I pay $150 to join your race, and I'm not going to win. But
Yeah.
you give me a shiny thing at the end. We're
Motivated me for my 15-mile runs.
I was just
No
kinda
way.
like, sir, I don't know if
Get
oh,
shiny
whatever you
medals.
think. We're moving on.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's good. Yeah.
But,
All right. Did you have an invite you tried to dodge? Did you give me an example of
I
one?
can't remember. I mean,
He doesn't get invited to many places.
I don't.
He
Yeah.
gives off the vibe,
People-
don't even
right,
try.
Exactly.
You are not cool enough to invite me to your home. Okay.
Yeah, like we don't like him.
No, it's not that. It's you don't like us.
I did have, so on the other side, so we were just starting ministry. We're helping with the youth group. And another couple actually went to Angie and said, we'd love to hang out with you, and we like you. We just can't get along with Greg. And told that to my wife. Yeah. It worked out because we didn't like them, either of them. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, church people
Isn't that
are
great?
amazing.
Isn't that-
Church.
yeah.
Oh, Lord
I still love
Jesus, help us.
I'm like, cool. We don't have to.
Literally making my eyes water. I cannot believe somebody. Oh, people. Do you not? They need to be more self-aware of their own selves. But anyways,
Yeah, that was one example of that truth.
wow. Okay, let's move on to something less painful. The series is The Neighborhood, and this week, PR, you had Invitation, and it really tied in actually really nicely to last week's message with PJ. It was ending our committed series that it's not about us, it's about them.
Mm-hmm.
And the them is never going to know that we think it's about them if we're never talking to them about come and see and know
Right.
what we have and who we know or whatever. So a question that came to mind when you're preparing this message, I'm wondering what felt most urgent for the church right now to grasp from this message. If you could say just one or two sentences, what felt most urgent? What do you want them to get?
I think it's the come and see component of the message, as far as like.
That's because it's about your favorite parable.
No, it's not a parable.
I mean,
It's
your
a
favorite story is what I
but
meant to say.
it's but it's just the idea that I've experienced something that is worth you experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's like we were having this conversation, I think Pastor Greg and I, and it's like either whether you have a good experience at a restaurant or a bad one, you tell people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're right somewhere in the middle, like, man, I just, you know, and there are sometimes people are like, what did you think about that restaurant? I'm like, meh. But like if I go to a place and I'm like, yo, like you have to go check this thing out, right?
Yeah.
and depending on the source. So like there's several dudes that I know that love wings, and like they recommended this one place. So we went to that place just for the wings, and they were banging, and it's like, yes, you hit it on the nail. So now I trust that whenever you say this place is banging, I got to pay attention, right? And the same thing goes if it really stinks. You're like, man, I went to this place, the service was horrible, the food was cold, it seemed like they put it in their microwave or something. Like, I'm not going there. And I got an example of that restaurant in town.
Do you want to warn us all?
I'm not going to put it out in blast because that's not, But so to me, it's that come and see component. If like I experienced this, and now I'm inviting you to just come and see, like to see if you experience the same thing. And I love the story, yes, but I also love what Jesus showed within that story. Yeah. Just the person of Jesus, his character, and it's just.
There's another come and see when Jesus is meeting, was it Andrew? Anyway, the two brothers, and they come see him, and Jesus talks to them, and then he runs to his brother and said, "Oh, you got to see this." And so, how could anything come out of good out of Nazareth? But what he was saying is, "Come and see."
So good. Okay, so excuse me. What I want to have happen today is literally what happened earlier this week or last week was talking about this message. Yahoo over here just started geeking out about some of the stories in the Bible, and then you started geeking out about some of the stories in the Bible, and I think perfect. I can just sit back and let you guys geek out, and we can all just sit here and listen, because your 3 points of invitation were come inside, and you talked about that being relationship out of Luke 14, and that was the great banquet, and you talked about point number 2, come and learn, and you talked about that being spirit-led curiosity using Acts 8, Philip and the Ethiopian. And then the come and see that we just talked about. And it's John 4, the woman at the well, and your experience with Jesus. So I want to start at come inside. Let's just go in order. And the great banquet story in Luke 14. Just what are some, even start at the contextual or cultural background maybe that there might have been, because you couldn't go through the whole story. And when we read a story like that, we really should check out a few verses before and a few verses after to kind of see what's happening, and is there any tie-in. And I didn't go back and read it since yesterday, so tell us.
Yeah, but and I've opened the floor to Pastor Greg to talk a little bit more about the contextual background of this. But think about in a society where social status was a huge thing. Okay, so it's not like you may have friends in your circle that actually make a lot less money than you, and that's okay. Like you may invite them actually to your kid's birthday party, and that's totally fine. Like the big tension in that story in particular is like there is somebody that apparently is very affluent. This person has servants, right? It's a master. They putting together a great banquet. So that lets you know that it's not just your Chuck E. Cheese thing. Like this person is actually inviting the performers. That everything is, and he says, and the story says, go and tell them that everything is ready for them to come. Now, if you look also, it gives you a clue of the people that are declining the invitation or are saying, bringing out an excuse that they can attend. They sound like they're well off too, right? Like, I got married, I bought oxen, I bought land. Like, these are not people that are broke. So it tells you that the invitation has gone out to affluent as well. But then what Jesus turns it into then, it's like, okay, they're not coming, fine. Now, invite the poor, invite the cripple, invite the lame, invite the blind. Like, these are people that culturally to us it's like, oh, if you're blind, like we're not going to segregate you, like you, it doesn't mean that you're not. But these are people that culturally are those that have been marginalized. And we know that Jesus throughout the New Testament is making a point that these people, they're not outcast. He's welcoming everyone. So that tension of him saying, fine, invite all these other people. And then they get invited, and then there's still more room. He said, anybody. And for us, we were thinking, well, it's only then it's not only then the Jews or the Gentiles. It's perhaps people that are of don't have even the same ethical convictions. Maybe they are moral. Maybe there are people that you wouldn't. You know, it reminds me of the woman that came in and you know, with the alabaster and you know, and just like she came up. And there was a dinner, and it's those times that this is another component to that culture. It's like for us, if I invite you guys to dinner, you guys are my friends. We're closing the door. Ain't nobody walking in, right? You knock on the door, and well, I have kind of a mean sign on my door that we talked about. But like, you're not coming in to sit at the table and have dinner with us. And that culture is like, it's open, and like people wander in and out. Like the woman that went to the table when Jesus was eating dinner there, Jesus was invited, and she went all the way up to the table. I'm like, how does this happen? So it reminds me of that. And this master in this story in Luke chapter 14 is saying, listen, everybody is welcome. Just invite everyone. So it's just that tension of what the culture was used to and what Jesus, we often talk about this upside down kingdom, and what Jesus now is telling his followers, because this is, to us, it may seem like, oh, this makes sense to us. But to them, it's like, oh, no, that's not what we do, right? Yeah. But anyway, just what comes to my mind is thinking through that story.
What do you got,
that parable?
It's set in, Jesus is invited over to a Pharisee's house, a well-known Pharisee. It's on Sabbath. A few verses before, Jesus heals somebody and challenges them. Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? So he's pushing the Sabbath idea. And no one says anything, so he goes ahead and heals the guy and sends him away. So I'm looking at this. Someone then says something like, blessed is he who is in the Father's banquet table in the kingdom of God. And there's a general understanding that the kingdom would be like a celebratory feast. And so there's that kind of reference. And so this parable comes in response to that declaration and sitting there with all the people that a well-known wealthy person would have at their table. And so, and that's what Jesus seems to be pushing back. And so there's the layers of this. So when I have Thanksgiving dinner, am I supposed to invite people over? And my opinion is the answer is possibly, but not necessarily, because this, you know, he's trying to get a different point of view that compared to those who reject the kingdom, that this feast then is a metaphor for the kingdom. The person, the host of this feast, the master, we're supposed to see the image that God. So you're not, I don't think it's great to put yourself in the place of God, but it's also, just be aware that the call to hospitality is a different thing, and that we are talking about hospitality and levels of it. So, and that would be a whole other thing is, and to me really interesting is what hospitality entailed and what a big deal it was. If you come under my house, then I'm responsible for you now. And so God calling, or the master calling anybody and everybody is not just saying, come and, you know, eat, have some bread. He's saying, come and, you know, I'm bringing you into a place that you don't belong, which I'm saying then you belong. You're not coming in as less than, you're actually taking the seats of those who should have said yes. And it seems like there's no shortage of seats either. So if those who would have said yes or didn't say yes would have, there's still not a shortage. But I also really like the word that he uses. It's translated differently, but go into the highways and hedges, which, so we'll come back to that. What? Right, we'll come back to that, but, and urge them. Or compel them. I saw that this morning
when I read it again. Urge them.
So it's not a passive kind of, and his intent was fill this place, and so I think that's really cool. But just the idea that what are you getting if you have to go into not just the highways but the hedges, right?
You're going to find some
Right.
Some animals.
Seedy people in the hedges.
Right, right. And so,
And maybe a raccoon.
right. And so, anyway, I think my final thought on this, or for this second, is and I think you use these words, insiders and outsiders, and the potential response of them. So, they're across the Bible. There's people, even Israel itself. I've said this multiple times on this podcast, that God literally says, I didn't pick you because you were capable of doing this. I picked you because you can't. God is in the business of picking those through whom the only way they make it is that he is glorified, that he did something. And somebody goes, oh, wow, I didn't think you were going to make it. For me, and not a brag, just the fact that people have said after knowing me in high school and then go, oh, you
made it in?
Right. He's a pastor? Okay. Wow. And so for me, that's a call to live up to that, live up to something. But God, from Israel to literally everybody, I'm going to pick David. I'm going to pick the secondborn rather than firstborn, over and over again. He's using people that you wouldn't expect. And so there's the flip. There's, I'm going to make who you thought were outsiders, insiders.
So in one sentence, so we can keep moving on, in one sentence, somebody hearing us talking about this story, what would you want them to see?
Well, I think that, as Pastor Greg pointed out, because the stories before and what Jesus is talking about before this, because he even talked about, hey, when you get invited to a wedding feast, don't take the most prominent seat. Yep. So he talks about humility, like humble yourself, sit yourself lower, and so it's that component of like, don't think too highly of yourself. But the idea that the kingdom of God had come and the Israelites have been waiting. I mean, they have been waiting for God to manifest his kingdom on the earth, and they had other pressing things, okay? Because that's the idea. Like, God has come in the flesh to invite you in, and you had other things that were more pressing to you at the time than actually accepting his invitation. So thinking through those lenses for me is like, number one, have we, and I'm talking we as humanity, accepted the invitation, because you can turn this into a very evangelistic message, if you want to, in the sense of like, yeah, Jesus, the invitation, you see it, is the cross. That's the invitation to humanity. And many who should be saying yes decided, no, there are more important things for me. But then there are those who have been expected that do not even belong, that they're outsiders, that shouldn't be in, are saying yes. So what does that mean? To me, out of the story, you see the master's heart of making sure that anyone that wants to be inside the house, I love what you said, inside the house is not only you coming to break bread or to eat, there's the protection. There's I mean, when you're in the house, you belong here. There's a protection, there's a safety, a security. There's like, listen, doesn't matter what's going on out there. Out there, you may be looked as a cripple, but in here, you belong. You're worthy. And to me, that story, for so many that are even now part of the family of God, may still look at themselves as a cripple and an outsider, but God has invited you in, and you're here, right? So,
yeah, that was a really long one line. How about you, PG?
That was a one line.
One,
no, sorry.
like. One takeaway. What do you want people to hear from this?
It's about the response. Basically, anyone who says yes. And so those who, and not just the response, it's about the inviter, the one doing the invitation, the master. It's about him. Those who knew him said no, and misunderstood who was asking.
Yep.
So those who don't know him may need a bunch of cleaning up and some clarification on how to act within this thing. But they said yes.
Yep.
The master seems more interested in the yes than you being perfect. But so even if we're going to apply it to reaching people, yeah, we may need to help them understand how to act within a community and things like that. But the yes, the response to the master If we understand the invite, then that's our own invite.
Yeah.
Then ideally we're saying, oh, this is available to everybody.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Come and Learn. That is Acts 8. The story you used was Philip and the Ethiopian, and you just talked about a spirit-led curiosity. This is where, Pastor Greg, you had a lot of just fun theology and stuff to understand Bible doctrine, to know what's happening, what do we need to understand. So talk to us about that story.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we could find theology in it.
I don't know if I used the wrong word.
You're great.
I don't know
You're
which
great.
word to say. Bible.
Sorry about that.
History.
Just stuff. Yeah.
Is that the right word?
The
Bible
nuggets
history.
Stuff.
The
Yeah.
Bible
Actually,
stuff.
yeah. Kind of
Historical.
No, I think context
stuff.
is still the word, even though.
Okay, I didn't mean to say
When we
theology.
say the word over and over. No, I'm sorry.
Okay, it's
I
okay.
didn't mean
I'm
that,
always
but
trying to figure out which word goes right, so that's good.
when I say theology, I think it's thoughts about God. So
Agreed.
we're never doing that. I probably have more of a hang up on it than anything else. But so it's on me, not you.
Okay.
All right. You want to keep talking about it?
No.
No.
I want you to talk
sorry.
about the Ethiopian, because you literally
Yeah.
made me laugh. I mean, like literally, you were just like a kid coming home and be like, "Mom, guess what I learned today?" Which never happens. So you parents out there who think that's going to happen, it really doesn't really happen.
Oh, your boys are like, Mom, guess how much I bench pressed today?
Not what I learned, though. You know,
I learned that I could squat 400 pounds.
no. Or they did an accounting formula or something, and they're like, they geek out about.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So I don't. This is just information about the story.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
Where we take it is a different thing. So Philip at the start of this chapter is already in Samaria, which we're going to talk about Samaria for the last thing. But
Okay. Yeah, good point.
someone there doing evangelism is absolute outreach. And so it's also probable that it's not Philip the apostle, but rather someone who's been designated as Philip the evangelist.
Really?
According to what I've read and stuff.
Okay.
So I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have. At some point, I just take. Okay.
Okay.
Doesn't change the story.
No.
Just interesting.
Yep.
So, Philip, at the beginning of or in this chapter, he also has a encounter with somebody who his title was Simon the Sorcerer, and Simon sees what Philip's doing because the Spirit is working big time through Philip, and
Yeah.
Simon says, what can I pay you essentially to get the Spirit?
I want some of that.
Exactly. But he's not simply saying, I want to be a part of this. He sees it as a magical power and wants to buy the information to be able to get this. So Philip confronts him pretty hard, and it doesn't go well for Simon. It's an interesting one. And then an angel speaks to Philip and says, go to this literal desert road, going down from where he was in Samaria. So if I say this is Samaria, he's asking to go a little bit further south and then to the west, down toward Gaza. And he's out in the middle of nowhere, and that's where he encounters the Ethiopian. The Ethiopian is most likely pretty wealthy. He's from literal Ethiopia, so Africa. And he is high-ranking. He knows how to read. He's got his own chariot, so he's doing all right. So politically powerful. So why is he in Jerusalem and leaving there? Well, there was just a festival, so it seems possible, maybe even likely, that he came to Jerusalem to participate in that festival.
Okay.
Doesn't make him a Jew. It makes him possibly a God-fearer, which is people who respect that but may not take the whole step. Now, why wouldn't he take the whole step? Well, he's a eunuch, which is something that Old Testament law said no one who's a eunuch can be in the assembly, so he may not be allowed to convert. We don't know, but just interesting stuff.
What was the laws, or why would somebody be made a eunuch?
Tons of different, and it depends on the time and everything else. But you could choose to be one, which is pretty dangerous.
Is that for like a religious reason you would choose that?
I think it would depend, but often it would be servants inside, as the vacuum goes.
I'm like
I don't know
hoping
if
you
can
can't hear it. Excuse us, we're going to go close the door.
But ones who chose it would be they wanted to serve at a certain point in or someplace in a royal capacity or something.
Okay.
Some of them might be in charge of harems and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So you don't want somebody who's going to
Who's
be interested
non-eunuch.
exactly in
I
those
see.
situations. There were a bunch of different things. So less threat.
It's like
from-
maim somebody so that they could help be in power over
Yeah.
something for you without you having to be concerned of them taking
Yeah.
advantage or exploiting the opportunity.
Absolutely. So
Wow.
really dangerous because
Yes.
they didn't have
Wow.
medical care and things like that. So,
Right.
So at least way back when it was a different culture that I was reading about. It was, many people would bleed out during
Wow.
it. So the last thing that I think I'll mention with this that I think is really interesting is that Philip heard what he was reading.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to sound, you're going to go, oh, I didn't think about that. So the guy's reading out loud, which doesn't sound. We all read mostly silently.
Ourselves. Mm-hmm.
Silent reading didn't become a thing, at least in the West. I don't know about the East, until the Middle Ages. It seems like when monks started were copying scripture and stuff, and silence was the way to go. That people started reading in silence. There are actually stories of, I can't remember the name of the famous guy way back, but they would make fun of him because they thought he was kind of crazy for reading silently because you must not be reading it. You're just staring at it. They thought he couldn't read.
Wow.
So, but silent
So he's
reading didn't
reading.
start for probably another 1,000 some years. Everybody just, when they read out loud.
Out loud. So then Philip could hear him. Philip recognizes,
Mhm.
which I think is important, recognizes what he's reading. And then what? What's important to you in this story?
To me?
Yeah.
uh,
Don't re-preach the message,
No,
but
I'm not.
there's things you couldn't get to, so tell us.
Well, the component of obedience is huge for me because, I mean, again, Philip, as Pastor Greg is saying, obviously this man is not one of us. Again, the angel tells him go to this area. The Spirit says go next to this carriage, and he just runs after this carriage. And now, so he follows every single step of how God has been leading him up to this point. And for me, I used to tend to think like, oh yeah, like it would be very easy if God just sends an angel, like I'm going to do what God says to do, but not so much, because there are things that are a lot more simpler than this, that sometimes I have a prompting, I need to do this, and I know that this is the right thing to do, and I don't do them.
Yeah.
So like, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, but so how do you know it was the Holy Spirit? Why did it take this step? And then the obedience to actually hear the man and then be interested enough and actually engaging in that conversation, because I'm trying to put myself in this situation, right? And it's like, let's be honest with each other. I've seen people perhaps in an airplane or in other environments reading a certain book that I noticed the title and it piques my interest and I have some questions about it, but I'm like, you know what? You do you.
Yeah.
So to me, is that obedience to actually, okay, you said to do this, I'm going to do it. You said to do this, I'm going to do it. And so to me, that's a big part of it.
And I loved how you pointed out, too, that when Philip hears him, Philip asks him what he's reading. And I think sometimes in that scenario, you could lead with, oh, you're reading Isaiah. Oh, I know that. And it becomes about me and let me tell you what I know. And, maybe it's a little pride show-off moment or something, rather than being quiet and letting him talk and like, tell me what you're reading, and listening to him process rather than me answering all your questions, letting you talk about it, which that's one of the first things you're taught in communication is firsthand revelation is better than secondhand revelation. So that, if I can ask enough questions to get you to say what I need you to say, you're going to learn it way better than if I tell you what the truth is or whatever. So
How do you feel about that?
how do I feel about that? Oh, you're asking me a question. I'm like, well done. You got me. I'm like, I like that. It's hard for a talker to learn that, but it's a good thing. And like you talked about too, like when we're talking with people, not making them like a project, not making them, again, like I can sometimes have a tendency to be like, oh, yeah, I was just reading about that. I learned about that. And I take over the conversation rather than letting that person talk to me about what they're learning. And one of the questions that came to mind is, what does it look like to show genuine interest without treating someone like a project? I don't want to treat them like they're stupid. I don't want to treat them like they're a project, but yet I want to show that I'm genuinely interested in where their journey's taking them.
Yeah. I think that's a really good question.
It doesn't always come easy, and I wondered if one of you had an answer to that. What does it look like?
That deep, but it's be genuinely interested.
It's really true.
Stop and be curious about.
Yep.
You have to assume you don't know everything, and that even if you do know a ton, you may not understand. You definitely don't know what questions are popping around in their head or what they think they understand, and so yeah.
Yeah, and I don't really like questions. Whether it's Jesus asking them or anybody else in the Bible, like just that question from Philip of, do you understand what you're reading? That just tells me that, Philip obviously heard what he was reading. Philip understood, had an idea of what it meant himself, but he's like, do you understand what you're reading? So that again is an invitation to say, hey, I'm interested in what you're reading. Do you get it? And then obviously then we know the rest of the story, but it is like, I'm not coming in there proud of the knowledge that I've acquired, proud that I know something that you do not know. And he's not making any assumptions, he's just asking a question. And so to genuinely caring about someone and without making them a project, I think that's why the relational component to invitation is so important, because am I inviting you to coffee because I know that your marriage is a little messed up, and I want to in that meeting when we meet for coffee tell you that Jesus is the answer and invite you to church? Or I might want to go have coffee with you because I know that your marriage is struggling, and I want to know how I can help you and support you in your marriage so that your family, that relationship ultimately ends up being successful, and that you and your spouse you and your wife can get to a place when you're healthy, and that the kids don't suffer the consequences of this, and the community doesn't suffer that. Like, what is the motive behind it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, so for me, like, and some people would say like, oh, Rafael, you tend to be evangelistic and whatever. That is something that I had to really check. I had to check my heart. Why am I desiring to be in relationship with this person? Why am I pushing in any kind of way? And even the same way, like, because then the reverse is true. Sometimes people want to be in relationship with me, and I'm always thinking they have an agenda. And so, like, what's your agenda? Why do you want to go to coffee? Why do you want to do this, right? And so, but I think that, as Pastor Greg said, like, is this genuine? Asking yourself those questions.
Right.
Like, what is my motive behind this? Why are we inviting this family to dinner?
Yeah. And I even like when Philip says, do you understand what you're reading? I think I would probably about a sentence or two into the eunuch's response say, I'm not sure I understand what you're reading either all the time. Like, and as we've talked about and joked about, as we get older and older, we're realizing, I'm realizing I know less than I thought, or at least I'm not so like 100% positive I've got it right, like we do in our late 20s and 30s where we think we have it all figured out. But just thinking of those kind of conversations with people, if we could lead with questions rather than an agenda to tell them everything that we think they need to know. Because some of the best influences in our own journeys have been people who are willing to just ask the questions and let us get there on our own, in the conversation or whatever, rather than trying to direct it.
And this guy was there already. He just didn't know certain things. So it was just he was hungry and ready, and upon hearing it said, well, there's water.
And
anything stop me from being baptized?
Yeah.
So cool.
And this is a massive change also, because this is the first Gentile convert. So God grabs one of his servants, Philip, and says, hey, move from where you're at, which is revival's blowing up. Quit that and go here for one guy.
And then poof, takes you away.
Right.
Like that quick. Like I think if we could see ourselves that way of like, God thought the eunuch was that important that I'm going to take my guy, stop what you're doing, come over here, have a moment with you, baptize you, encourage you. You are seen, you are known, you are celebrated. Peace out. I got to get back to what I'm doing. You know, like that quick. Like we are all that important. God sees each and every one of us and puts people in our path to help us along if we're willing to recognize it. And then we can be the Phillips if we're willing to listen and actually get out of our busy, self-absorbed lives and actually pay attention. The girl checking out my groceries at Walmart needs me to say what's on my mind right now.
Yeah.
So stop being weird about it. Stop being all caught up of like, she's going to think I'm stupid. She's going to...
It doesn't have to be insanely spiritual sometimes, too. It could just be that you recognize stress on someone's life and you go, hey, you're okay. Yes. You're going to be all right.
You noticed her and said, how's your day going today? What time's your shift end? Oh, good. You're going to get out while the sun's still up. Like that's something a conversation I have. And sometimes they'll look at you like, excuse me? And I'm like, how's your day going? When do you get off work? I realize sometimes maybe the when you get off work sounds a little bit creepy. Well, and I realized,
especially
I was like, from you guys, that wouldn't work. But, but it's just like you notice somebody, you give them value because they're seen. Yeah. And then if you can drop Jesus in there, even in a more profound way, great. Yeah. But he didn't ask you necessarily to do that.
Yeah, I know we're moving, but I would say particularly to me applicable to our current environment is their environment. The environment that this is set in is right after Stephen is killed.
Really?
There's persecution going
sure
on.
Enough.
Acts 7.
Acts 7,
is where it actually happened. Yeah. So there's persecution going on, and Christians scatter. And so now we've got Philip the evangelist up in Samaria, and that's bad. Philip died, or Stephen died, and so now we're all scattered and stuff. It is bad, or it's no fun. But the effect was the gospel spread.
100%.
And I don't need that to be the justification for it, but the effect is that happens. So now we have an encounter that happens because of things that were meant to be bad, and we can harken back to Joseph. What you plan for bad, God is used for good.
Yeah.
And we see incredible things happen regardless of what we call bad or what we call good.
Yeah.
God is God. He does his thing.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a Jew and an Ethiopian in Samaria, like that is so remarkable. Like this man, this eunuch is taking the good news about Jesus back to where he came from, and like you said, being a eunuch, right? Not allowed into the temple. Don't have, not only are you an outsider because you're a Gentile, but now I don't know. I would love to have a word for word script of what Philip said to him, because we go from, tell me what this is the prophet talking about himself or someone else? They talk, and he's like, there's water. What's preventing from me?
Boom, boom,
I'm
boom.
like, I missed listen, I don't know who was in charge of putting all the words, but we're missing some words here. Like, I would love to hear, because he just tells me, Philip more than likely was like, this is the good news. And you are not an outsider.
Yeah.
You can be like, God died for you. Like he's like, I'm in. Like,
so good.
How can I be in? Give me the ring. Like
Absolute outsider again, brought inside.
Yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
Again.
And past all of our assumptions about who should be allowed and who is allowed. So there's a large Jewish contingent out in Ethiopia also during this time, and then later on we hear about large Christian contingent. I'm not saying that's all connected, but could be.
Could be. Okay, I'm on a new mission this year of trying. I tell you not to worry about the time and let me worry about the time. I'm trying to see if we can keep it under an hour, even when there's 3 of us. But the problem is
now,
because I want you to relax and chit chat about nonsense. It's fine.
We talk
it's
about
fine.
nonsense for 12 minutes.
Stop making me talk about it now. Okay, listen. We have the third point, which is your favorite one to talk
we have
about.
less than 10 minutes.
And I didn't tell you what my end time was.
I know what it is.
No. Okay, you now have
It's
10
so awkward
minutes.
when mom and dad argue.
I want to, he's kind of like my brother from another mother kind of a deal. So it's kind of like a teenage
Another
brother-sister
zip code,
spat
another
all the time.
nation, yeah.
Like, I don't know how Victoria puts up with him because I just have to have little parts
Okay,
of my
listen,
day.
let's keep it to Bible.
Okay, so 10 minutes or less. Woman at the well, John chapter 4, experiencing Jesus. I love this. I mean, the most famous part of it for me is she goes back. She's right away, and she's telling everybody. She's not ashamed anymore. She's not quiet, her head hanging, hiding out to go to the well at noon. It is, she comes back and like, you guys have got to see this guy who just told me everything about my life. And so she is in the moment revolutionized, completely different person because she experienced Jesus. Tell me what you love about this.
Well, so there's one thing that we don't. I mean, there's a lot that details that again on this story that we don't really know, and
Yep.
we like to assume some things
Good point.
just because Jesus says you've had 5 husbands and the one that you're with, the man that you're with right now, is not your husband. Like we assume, oh, she is very scandalous. Like she is jumping from man to man. Like we don't have the context of that. The one thing that we do know is that. It's not usual for a woman to go by herself at the hottest part of the day to go draw water. There's nobody else there but Jesus, right? So this is normally a time of day that women don't go. And so the women, apparently, they go earlier in the day. Is it
Earlier in the
When it's
day,
cooler.
together.
Together.
It's a community.
It's a community
event.
thing, right? And
Yeah.
so like
She's by herself, so she's outside community.
yes.
Could she have been considered more outcastish even if she was like a Ruth and Naomi where maybe her husbands had died and there was no kinsman redeemer for her anymore? Like, could she, would the women, I mean, women can be real
Yeah.
catty,
Yeah.
real catty.
Well,
So-
and I understand that, but
Anything's
what
possible, but his
yeah.
response to her,
Yeah.
and she agrees with it.
Yeah.
And what-
puts her in a different category.
What do you mean? What response? Like, what part does
she
he say?
He says, "Go get your husband." She says, "I'm not married." He goes, "Yeah, you've had 5 husbands, and the one you're with isn't." So we don't have the.
That
I mean,
makes
she could
us-
have a longer story, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we're not given that she has a sense. Our shame actually points to us often to that we agree with whatever standards are we think are, even if they're fabricated. So that
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
not like bold about it, even though she's bold about it. So anyway.
But the word that you use there,
She's
Pastor
not
Greg,
wanted.
is shame. And so that's what I think is important. So like how she came about, 5 husbands, and now like is it the men who have
Failed
they've
her?
been-
Is it
fails
her?
You could equally go, maybe she's a black widow, where she's killing them.
Yeah,
Black Widow.
we don't know. But the idea is that she is going at a time that the rest of the women are not there. She's by herself. There is obviously something that has excluded her from the community.
Okay.
She's an outcast for whatever reason it is. She is part of the marginalized for whatever reason that is. Like we don't see the reasons here because she obviously goes back to the community and she speaks to the people in the village, and for some reason they're listening to her. So like there's some dynamics there that I'm like, I'd love to
Wish
to
we knew
learn
more.
about that, right? But the thing is, she feels you get that hint of like, man, is it shame? Is it feeling like not worthy? Is it like I am an outsider and I'm part of because she even tells Jesus, like, if you give me of this water, then I won't have to come back to this well anymore. Like she's thinking in physical well, right? Like but obviously this is something that it's not easy for her to do. And so I love the way that Jesus just engages with this woman. Again, just like our previous story, an outsider, right? Jesus makes the first move. So he could have just stood quiet there.
Right.
And it is him by himself. There's nobody around. Even the disciples are wondering when they get back, like, oh, why is he talking to this woman? Like, Jesus takes the first step, the initial step. And I love that about what's happening here.
Do you got anything about the story?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it.
Tell me
shoot it.
in a few minutes.
Man. I'll begin with God. It's not just outsider. It's unwanted. It's isolated. It's for me. I'm thinking Hagar in the wilderness and an angel shows up. God, as Pastor Rafael talked about on Sunday, really dedicated Jews would walk around Samaria because they don't want to be tainted by how Samaria is. And so basically you've got Israel as a kind of an up and down thing. And if you're in Jerusalem and you need to go north, Samaria is in the middle.
Yep.
So you either go through Samaria or you go around it, which adds like 2 days to, maybe a 5 to 10 day journey, depending on how fast you walk.
So like if I can go
But-
around Gretna, it's what I do to get to Bennington. If I can.
Because you don't want to be tainted.
Right, I don't want to be
But,
like
yeah, exactly.
Gretna.
Got
Got burned by those dragons.
I'm from Bennington. Why would I ever
South side, no thank
deign
you.
to Gretna? Anyway.
I mean, I could go
But-
Bellevue, but that's just like absolutely
even worse.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like nobody would even think about going.
Yeah, Bellevue
Through
West
Bellevue.
keeps beating us in football and basketball probably, but at least back in the day. But for some reason, Jesus stops at a well next to a town in the middle of where no good Jew wants to be, and talks to a lady that no person, even in Samaria, wants to be around.
Which then could be misconstrued if anybody saw him talking to her like this.
His own
like,
disciples came up and
they're like,
thrown off.
what are we doing here, Jesus?
Yeah, because the whole thing's super weird. This
Yep.
is very, very out of context, and there's some great history about why. Which we don't have time to do, but it's just
Give me one nugget.
this is coming out of the exile when the people that they shipped off all the people that were wanted, all the wealthy, all the influential, all the people worth having around, got exiled, and all the people that were just not worth it were left in the land, and then other people were shipped to. It's one of the things that empire did was move people to different locations to create loyalty to the regime and things
I
like
see.
that. So I'm going to move you out of familiar locations so you have less sense of ownership and less likely to rebel.
Wow.
And so now you've got people that were Jewish but now are hybrids because they intermarried, and you see that in Nehemiah. Why are you guys intermarrying? Kind of stuff. But Samaria, there's even longer history of where Samaritans then wouldn't go to the temple because the temple didn't exist, and it's just a bunch of stuff that you end up with a really pseudo-Jewish, pseudo-Yahwehism,
Okay.
fake they claim God but don't worship in the right way.
That's how she had the knowledge then to say
Yeah.
what she said about where we worship, where you would worship, and
Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine you only had half the Bible, and that's where
Yep.
you build all your stuff and,
Yep.
and thoughts. So basically, I was going to be mean. The way many of us are approaching the way we think about
The way we approach the Bible.
Yeah, because
We-
we're just taking little snippets and little bits that we hear,
Yep.
maybe from preachers or something like that, little pieces of scripture that we then build back to theology, and why I'm so hesitant about it. And I'm genuinely sorry because I'm not trying to shame. It's that we can take these things and then now have thoughts about God because we have this section and someone said this.
Yeah.
Even if we've heard it consistently, but let's say we hear God believes in you, God believes in you, God believes in you, and that becomes our theology. Is it wrong? No. But if you've never heard God's belief in you can result or should result in kindness and goodness and gentleness and self-control, without that, we don't have a balance.
Yeah.
Point of view. And so this is some of where we end up, and as they're encountering, Jesus is coming clearly with a balanced point of view and is ready to bring the truth and actually presents it to someone who doesn't even understand what is being said. And it's, hey, come and see is the result when that type of truth is presented, even to those who, oh my gosh, don't belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's too. It's such a prime way that the enemy uses. You've seen it even here forever in the existence of Good News Church, because it happens everywhere. Where if I can make you feel like you don't belong or that you're the worst of the worst, you would never step foot in here, and then you don't. And then people who are brave enough to like maybe tiptoe in, they see us and they think we've always been fairly decent with Jesus, and they have no idea how terrible you two are. And I did come in holy and righteous.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I swear.
You're all puffed up.
Yeah, I was puffed up when I came in here too.
You're like the older sister, the older brother in the story.
In the story? Why? Because I'm older?
No, it's the way you're saying.
Oh.
You're good.
Because I was good, yeah.
We're prodigals.
But you are prodigals. I'm the chief of them. Anywho, just thinking about, like, I always, when I read these kind of stories, I am so grateful for a God who is no respecter of persons and who wants all of us to come in. And it becomes kind of my drive, my whatever, of trying to keep people from believing a lie that will prevent them from coming into biblical community with other people, so that slowly but surely their lives can be changed and healed and hope given. That oftentimes they've been so lied to, and that they believe that they're just believing lies and never step foot here and don't think they're worthy.
The biggest challenge for me, it's just my own personal thought on this, is the challenge is then how do I live this out?
Right.
Because it's great to say, hey, all the Samaritans are welcome, as long as I don't have to welcome you. Because
Or sit in that section.
Well, because the biggest tension, and again, I'm speaking for me, the biggest tension is doing what Jesus did. The biggest tension is people are going to look at you and say, why are you talking to that person? Why are you doing this? This is not how we do things. Like the tension is exactly what Jesus did, you know? And it's not easy. And it's not always as black and white. It's not always as very easily definable. When you talk about theology, you know, the study of God, and so who is God, and what is his character? And then when Jesus says, now you go and do likewise, I'm like, I don't know if we can do that. That's what we need the Spirit. That's what we need. I need the fruits of the Spirit in evidence in my life. And so, like, all of these stories that we shared, they have this threat through all of them, and it is the character of the Master, the character of the Father. And so, like, for me, then, what is God calling me to when it comes to invitation? Because it's more than just invite somebody out for coffee or dinner or whatever, right?
Yeah.
There are people that make me very uncomfortable, just flat out and honest. And so then, how do I act in those situations? What is my responsibility? So,
I think the simple way to respond is, you know, you said, how am I supposed to respond, or how'd you word it? What's my responsibility? And
am I willing to do it?
Am I willing to do it? So then it's, somebody was willing to do it for me. I literally am sitting here reflecting on when I showed up here, and I was pregnant at the age of 19, way before it was socially acceptable to be a single pregnant girl. And I think about the ladies who accepted me, and how there were other people in the church who I am certain did not make it easy for them to love on me, because they're saying they're legalistic, religious. You're making Tana think it's okay that she's sinful. You're making Tana think that what she did was okay or whatever. And that you should be pulling away from her, rather than these women instead threw me a baby shower. You know, in 1993, when this was totally, the way we did church embarrasses me. And they just poured out blessing on me, verbally and in gifts, to bless me. And then after I had Kirsten, my Kirsten, not the Kirsten who works here, and then continued to love on me as I was figuring out how to be a godly woman and be a mother to my daughter. And I think that's how you do it. It's like you don't think twice. It's like, you know what? There's somebody who needs to be loved. There's somebody who needs to be seen and recognized. I don't care if they have an agenda. Holy Spirit is very capable of making me aware if like, I need to be careful with this one, you know?
Yeah.
Most of the time, that's not what's happening. God knows exactly what he's doing, and we just need to be open and willing to invest in, ask the question, see someone, celebrate that they're here today, you know, those kind of things. And then invite them in, you know, whether it's to coffee or whether it's just come on Wednesday night, come sit with me on Wednesday night. We've got groups on Wednesday night, come and be with me and let's study the Bible together.
And that's very, very well said, but not everybody has your heart. Okay.
Well.
Not everybody has your disposition to actually be like, I know what it is to be broken, and I'm going to meet you where you are.
But you know what it is to be broken.
I understand that, but not all of us are wired the same way. What I was going to ask you is then, how have you arrived? What steps have you taken to arrive to where you are? So, like for example, what I mean by that is, I am generally kind of suspicious of
I
people.
knew that's what you're gonna do. Mm-hmm.
That like trust has been a 50-year long journey for me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and yeah, you can say my environment and what I've gone through. Like, yeah, those things influence you and affect you.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but that's just the struggle. So how do you then get to a place where you bypass whatever guardrails you put in place or in your mind that you were like, this person needs me and I'm going to love them exactly where they're at? Because there's a gazillion people just like that.
There's a couple things rolling around my head. Is it Revelation when he's talking about the church of Ephesus who's fallen from their first love, and he talks about I might be mixing things up. Is it there where it's like not forgetting where I fought from, where I've come, where I've fallen, where I've fallen? Like I usually quote that, and now it's like escaping me. But it has been before me. Listen, I have the kind of life. Most of your history can be a secret. For decades, my life past couldn't be a secret right away from the beginning. And I used to be mad about that. There are people out here doing all this crazy stuff and nobody even knows, and they're accepted and comfortable in the church. But I walk in with this big fat pregnant belly and everybody knows and can judge me. And actually, they don't truly know the story, but they're judging me on assumptions that they've made about me, right? So from the beginning, I was forced to have to wrestle that out with God. Yeah. And it became, it's not, people, I don't ever want to forget where I came from and where I fell from and what Jesus has done in my life. So therefore, I trust him, not you. So if I'm reaching out to love you, I don't have to be suspicious. If you're up to no good, whatever, Holy Spirit's going to show me. And the Holy Spirit's the one who's leading me to have conversation with you. So I'm not going to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it. He's been faithful enough long enough.
But that's really good. But but again, even in your answer, you're showing the fact that that has been your experience. My experience has been that if I reach out to you to help you, you may be the very person that stabs me in the back.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
But that was everything.
But that's what I mean. So like, what do? I make sure.
Listen, we're gonna have a come to Jesus moment right now. You have been following Jesus long enough.
No, I get it.
That any backstabbing should be almost a laugh to you. Like,
but the experience is
it's becoming a crutch for you.
No.
Yes, it is.
No.
You need to stop having this gift of suspicion that you have, because it's not for you to be suspicious.
And yet, it is. So you're talking about the grace that God has given you, all the things that He has done in your life, and how He has met you. And I understand all of that. Sometimes is how the poor what you will have with you always, right?
Right.
So it is like, okay, so how many poor, right? What is the assignment? So if I'm supposed to help Greg, right? I'm helping Greg, but then Tana needs help too. How then do I? And we're talking about invitation. We're talking about those that are broken and crippled and all of that. Then who gets the attention?
And I don't 100% disagree with Tana. I will push, in my opinion. a little bit to say that Rafael can speak to certain types of people
100%.
that neither of us can speak to. And I'm not talking about racial. I'm talking about if someone says, man, or you get a sense that someone's like, no, trusting people is really hard. And he's able to go, oh,
Agree.
absolutely.
That is what he brings to the
it's
table. That's
stinking terrible. I don't
Yes.
want to trust anybody. Here's where I'm at. And there's a genuineness to that. There's an understanding of the conversation. The eunuch
Totally.
we talked about was, do you understand what you're reading? And they're able to talk at that level. And no one, people on our side aren't going, well, I was reading the Bible and I didn't quite understand that. And it'll be a different conversation. For me, it's also the same. There's people I get to talk to because very much, I've had multiple conversations over years where someone's like, yeah, I just don't know, on the sort of pseudo-intellectual side. I'm like, no, I get it. I don't know why I believe, because this is against how I view the world. And yet, here's where I'm at. Here's how I've navigated these things. Here's, oh, you have an opinion about something apologetic related. Yeah, I can see that. Here's why it doesn't work. Or here's, I'm with you. And so we're able to just, within our experiences, speak to certain things. It doesn't mean that we also don't need, that it wouldn't be healthy for us to see even more openness. For me to be open to those who don't think the way I do, and yet still respect that I think they're believers also. I think they are equally valuable, and my faults are equal at least to theirs, if not more so. And same for him. Would it be healthier for him to have different, I don't know, to change? Well, that's up to him. As friends, you can have that conversation, but it actually takes us back to that first point of listening, of, oh, tell me about that, where are you at with that? And it can become a compassion conversation.
That's a great word. So what I was meaning when we started this conversation to talk about your heart is because you're very compassionate. And so I've there's no secret that I've said for a long time, I want to be more like Jesus. I want to be compassionate in that way. So, but for some of us, it doesn't come as easy. Yeah. And I know that it's not easy for you. I know that it's not easy for everyone too. But there are certain personality bends, experiences, and things that are in each and every one of us that makes us different. And so I'm genuinely asking the question, okay, we could say for some people to do what Jesus did at that well, it could come very easily and almost like I'm not even thinking about it. For me personally, it's not. And so that's what I'm saying. We're speaking to two different camps perhaps. And there's some people that were like, I would totally, Victoria, she would totally be like Jesus in that environment. But just in all honesty, I'm like, I don't know that 100% of the time I'll do that. And does it bother me? Absolutely, it bothers me.
I don't 100% of the time do it either. And at times, I have gotten myself into a season where my empathy radar is so off the charts that I am dying a slow death. I'm not taking care of me. I'm exhausted. I'm broken. I can't carry one more person's pain. And those are things too where then God has to work with me of so who is sustaining them, me or you, So I have to wrestle those things out of what is my role. And sometimes my role is pray from a distance. And sometimes my role is be this accessible, but not this accessible, those kind of things. So it is a learning curve, just like anything else that you do as following Jesus of figuring out. If Philip ran to the desert roads every single time he thought somebody could be on a desert road, he'd be exhausted and he'd be missing some things that maybe God wanted him to do there. But he learned God's voice and learned to trust, for some reason, I'm feeling this inkling that I'm supposed to run to this road down here by Gaza. Not really sure why, but I think I'm going to obey. Yep. He might have gotten there and been like, you missed it. Okay, I'm practicing listening to you. He got there and God was like, yeah, this is exactly the mission I want you to do. I think that's what we do, is practice that.
I'm learning from your compassion, just so you know. I mean, so there are people in my life that I learn different things from, and and that's one of the things that I've noticed in your life, the way you live your life. And I'm like, well, I wish I was like that, but I know that inherently I'm not wired that way. So I'm learning some things from you, and it's great to hear that you also are able to realize or recognize I am way off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
I am out of balance, because you used that word before. And there are some times that things need to be out of balance, because if, like, we have an entire huge crisis in our city, for example, like, we're going to be out of balance if we have to be, like, there are seasons that you have to put in a ton of work, and there's not much you time or things like that. So that's understandable. But when you get to a place when that is consistently a problem, then the fact that you're able to recognize it is huge. And I'm glad to hear that.
And you may not always need it. Ideally, you're in a situation where compassion is needed. Somebody who is more naturally compassionate is able to come alongside, or you can reference, you can pull people in, things like that. At the same time, there's I'm thinking about on football, a quarterback doesn't need to tackle anybody until he needs to tackle somebody. So if your quarterback's never tackled anybody,
Or the punter.
this is the problem,
Punter's even
right?
worse. It's like,
Right. And the problem with the punter is that they're also usually small. So
Ooh, we saw one last night where we were
not
like,
always.
oh, he's a little chunky for a kicker.
Right.
we've seen some big boys.
So some of them, are jacked, but you may not always need it, but every once in a while, certain skills are outside of your skill set might be required. But so I think being aware that we can continue to grow. I mean, I had something else and it just disappeared, but allowing ourselves to be challenged even when we don't want to, accept that you do have certain gifts, and generally you're going to find your most fruitfulness inside those. Doesn't mean you shouldn't ever go outside. It just means that your best work is going to be inside there. So
I even see that with you. You wouldn't look at Pastor Greg and think, wow, he's the most compassionate, open, and just wants to sit there and listen to somebody talk and talk and talk or whatever. But I actually, the last several weeks, there's somebody that's been connecting to him, and I'm sitting there like, PG, you need me to interrupt? Do you want me to like pull you out of here? I'm trying to motion or whatever. And he's like, no, I'll step out when I need to step out, but he's willing to do it. It's not maybe always his natural bent, but there are times spirit-led or whatever where you're like, yeah, actually, this is the place I'm supposed to be, and this is the life I'm supposed to be speaking into. And it's just the willingness that we have to do it. So, okay, we got to wrap up.
cool.
I know. This is pushing.
I love it. And yeah, anyways, I love it. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you are so motivated to invite, whatever that looks like. Pastor Rafael mentioned Celebration Sunday. Bring them to a Wednesday night. Wednesday night is super chill, especially moving forward. We're just having, some breakout time, some group discipleship time. Just come sit together and literally like we're doing right now, that kind of stuff. So just open your eyes, open your ears, listen to the Holy Spirit, and be who he wants you to be to the people around you in your neighborhood. So have a wonderful week, and we'll chat again next time.